Welcome to the 2023 Parliament of the World's Religions, celebrating 130 years of the Parliament in Chicago. Please welcome Potawatomi representatives and elders.
Excuse me. Come here.
Yeah, he's going to speak right here, right now.
Thank you.
Manowaben, Ginwa, Bojo Jayak. Gishab Gishik and Deshnakas, Pokaganik and Debendagwas. Welcome everyone here this morning. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing this morning. I was asked to come here this morning on behalf of my family and my Potawatomi people. My people and my family are indigenous to this land here. My grandfather signed the Treaty of Chicago in 1893 at the Columbian Exposition. His son, one of my grandfathers, was his first time here at the same time as the World Parliament of Religions had started their inception. I'm honored to be here speaking. Dabadewen means love in my language. I want to send that word out into the space with us. Dokmasuin means peace in my language. Those words came to me this morning, and I'm about to speak to you in that language. And I know that a lot of us have a history of being prayed over in someone else's language. I'm empathetic to that. And if you just give me the moment to say these few things, then I will tell you, I will translate for you these things that I've said over here in this space for us. Nui madmoeno doshapi, aho miigwech. Miigwech memogosnan, no oda manowaben. Nui wabma, kuchogme, mano bamad sewen. Miigwech memogosnan. Miigwech manado wechkuk kasinyak. Miigwech manado wech bisagok. Miigwech manado Ogashatuk, Mbokuk. Manado nisach jowen. Miigwech manado kawajowen. Miigwech manado odoshapi. Miigwech manado bemad sawet. Jayak. Bodwawan mi and Dow, Nishnaba kwe, Pokaganik indebendagwes, Dwa dek Mijiganik, Indochbia, Nishnaba kik, Ejadayan. How me gretch for that. What I had just said was I just asked, I came to be here real recently because I asked if someone was here to ask these spirits that have been here before my people, these spirits that are indigenous to this place and have been here before me and will be here long after me. Was there anyone here today to invite them? Our spirits love to fellowship. And so that's what I asked. I asked those spirits that were from every one of these directions, but also this river, this water out here, where we know this Fort Dearborn history and we know so much of this Queen of the West City history that Chicago is. I acknowledged this water that we're on right now, and I acknowledged those spirits of that big water. And to my knowledge, speaking to them in my language which my language is tied to our identity, it's tied to our spirituality, it's tied to our religion. If you can offer prayers of help for our people here in these spirits to be able to fellowship and come into these spaces and be with these spirits that you all bring with you here. Before I go, I need to acknowledge not just those spirits who were here before me, my ancestors who were here before me, but the nations who were here before our Potawatomi nation, the nations who were here with our Potawatomi nation, the nations who were absorbed into other nations, and the nations who may hopefully never be nameless in our history. Those nations are the Sac, the Fox, the Winnebago, the Menominee, the Peoria, the Piankashaw, the Mascoutin. My people are still here. We're the stewards of this land. We'll be the stewards of this land until Creator tells us otherwise. Please acknowledge those people that came before us here in this space and traveled with these spirits that I asked to join you all this week in all your good work. Love and peace. Ahau miigwech chayak.
Please welcome the Chair of the Board of Trustees for the Parliament of the World's Religions, Nitin Ajmera.
Jai Jinendra. Sisters and brothers of the world, I bow down to the Lord that sits in every soul of every living being. The energy that flows in all of us, that drives us to the best of ourselves. Jai Jinendra. I also send my warmest wishes on the Independence Day of my brothers and sisters of the country of Pakistan. आज़ादी की सालगिरह आप सबको मुबारक हो। With the path shown by Lord Mahavira, blessings of my gurus, values of my Jain faith, love and nurture of my parents, guidance of my teachers, critiques and reflections from my beautiful wife, support of my son, and by sharing and caring of my in-laws, families, and friends, I, Nitin Ajmera, welcome you all to the 9th convening of the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago, here and now. The day has finally arrived. Every human being, every living being has a right to life, happiness, fulfillment, self-expression, equality, economic satisfaction, sustenance, and growth. Let our conscience, yes, our conscience, have no basis on which we differentiate amongst all of us, and let us give every one of us an equal chance to live and let live. The message of Lord Mahavir that was relevant 2,500 years ago is relevant even today. Every soul has a freedom to choose. Freedom is our birthright. Freedom should be an expression of our feelings. But have we as a society defined the true essence of freedom? As we all know, my right of freedom ends where your right begins. Our choices of action within our space of our freedom is karma of our own being. No one can dictate these choices to any other soul, and no one can be judgmental of the choices that the other individual has made. But lately, our freedom is confused and limited to an individual perspective and not viewed holistically from everyone's perspective. In 2023, and the past few years building up to it, democracy is getting to what we know as 50.1%. We, the society in its metamorphosis, are seeing the far right and far left ideologies, and they're taking more roots in the ground. And in this definition of a percentage majority, we are starting to leave back our brothers and sisters, ignoring their human rights, perspectives, and quashing their dreams and aspirations. What we are leaving back, my friends, is 49.9% of us. Friends, hence we all call upon a theme of our convening, call to conscience, defending freedom and human rights. The night of November 1, 1984, New Delhi, India, my brother and I were put behind a closed door in a room. My mother a little outside, and my dad with other neighboring uncles and aunts. Through the crack in the door, I saw my dad and neighboring uncles in a notable distance, asking men with lathis and spears in their hands, angry and willing to hurt fellow Sikh families.
Sorry, everyone. The mayor, of course, is on a tight schedule, and we want to introduce the mayor of the greatest city on the planet and the birthplace of the interfaith movement. Nitin will finish his talk in just a moment.
I will finish after our mayor. I welcome him. He has welcomed us in the town of Chicago, where we started it in 1893, and I welcome him on stage as he is busy with other things, and we totally respect that. Thank you.
Thank you, and good morning to the world. It is an immense privilege and honor to welcome the Parliament of World Religions back to the greatest city in the world, the city of Chicago. There is no better place to host this gathering than right here at McCormick Place. I would argue that there's no city more meaningful to the Parliament of World Religions than the city of Chicago. Your legacy is profound, dating all the way back to 1893, where a creation of a global platform for engagement of religions of the East and West found its home right here in Chicago. Thank you for the cultural unity and the inclusivity that imbibes this incredible moment. Because it is those same values of unity and inclusivity that allows the Parliament of World Religions to continue to thrive in 2023. And I'm confident that you will renew your commitments to one another around the very values that were birthed here in Chicago. Because Chicago truly centers itself as a place of diversity and inclusivity, I'm honored that we celebrate that each and every waking moment in Chicago. Now, we recognize that our rich and vibrant communities made of a variety of cultures, traditions, religions, and dreams from around the world, that is truly what makes our city strong. Each community enriches our collective identity for the very soul of Chicago. As mayor, I want to continue to nurture that soul and further Chicago's commitment to equity and inclusivity. Now, there is no greater group to connect with communities than our faith leaders. In fact, there is an inherent trust between faith leaders as well as the community. Your spiritual traditions have the power to guide people to a path of peace and nurture a spirit of mutual respect and collaboration. Now, I know that this is the Parliament of World's Religions, but I hope you don't mind me quoting from the scripture that I was raised on in this moment. From the book of Psalms, behold how good and pleasant it is for brethren and sisters to dwell together in unity. Now, because we are of one mind, of one spirit, it is that like-mindedness and is that one spirit that is going to bring the world together. It's that type of harmony and unity amongst people that the people of the world deserve to see. Because goodness and joy on full display in this room creates the type of atmosphere that those who are living in poverty deserve to see. Because it is our collective joy and hope that we bring to the world will ultimately help bring people out of economic despair and poverty. That is the work of the world's religions. When we think about our mission to promote peace and justice and sustainability and dignity amongst all beings, let's recognize the urgency of this moment. The urgency in this moment requires us to not just simply rely upon the recitation of scriptures and our sacred books, but it requires us to demonstrate the most incredible act and power known to humankind, and that is the act of love. So let us lead with love and understanding. Love is the greatest conqueror on the planet. And if we learn to love one another, what enormous potential this planet could have. So let's continue to demonstrate love and continue to have the dialogues around the world to bring about climate justice, economic justice, housing justice, education justice, transportation justice, good paying jobs. I'm talking about the act of love. And that love ultimately requires us to collaborate with one another. As mayor of the city of Chicago, I will continue to bring people together, surrounded by our commonality of loving one another, loving people enough to invest in people. Because the scriptures that I was raised on says that our hearts and our treasurer has to be aligned. When you love people, you invest in people, and that's what we do here in the great city of Chicago. Now, in closing, I challenge all of us today, those who live here in the city and those who live around the globe, to connect with your various communities, using your homes and houses of worship and positions to make sure that every resident in this great city and cities across the world have a peaceful and prosperous life. And for those of you who are looking to move from your cities, the city of Chicago is fully welcoming you. So continue to engage with one another. Continue to support one another. Continue to build stronger societies based on our collective strength. We will not allow those who wish to plant seeds of division to conquer in this moment. It will be the world religious leaders that ultimately brings us all together. And as mayor of the city of Chicago, someone who was deeply connected to my faith, I know a song that my mother would sing, that we have come this far by faith, and that we serve a God that never fails us. So continue to bring people together, continue to ignite change so that the world gets to see the greatest gift known to humankind, and that is the gift of love. Thank you all, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Things happened, right? So here I am coming back to my story. The night of November 1, 1984, New Delhi, India. My brother and I were put behind a closed door in a room. My mother a little outside, and my dad with other neighboring uncles and aunts. Through the crack in the door, I saw my dad and neighboring uncles in a notable distance, asking men with lathis and spears in their hands, angry and willing to hurt fellow Sikh families on our block of houses. The group of men, including my dad, was stopping them, for if they did anything, the entire block, which included fellow Hindus, Jains, Christians, and Muslims, would also get affected. After quite a debate, these men moved away from our block, and we were one of the blocks that night in Delhi when no violence took place. Next morning, Times of India reported Delhi and many cities in India on a blaze. Riots everywhere after the assassination of the Prime Minister, and curfew imposed with schools closed until further notice. Paranoid and bewildered, I, a 12-year boy, was witnessing communal anger and had no idea where, what, and how this world will take me. All I was worried was about my friends in school from Sikh community and what happened to them and their parents. Damandeep Singh Kochar, now a local Chicago resident, was in my class and amongst my good friends. When school opened on around November 14, 1984, I saw Daman being dropped by his dad to school, and I took a sigh of relief as he and his father were okay. And I cautiously, with no one noticing, went and gave him a hug. The event created a world of caution, but over the course of my life, I converted it into the world of possibilities. We humans have to agree that we disagree. But when we do disagree, the only way to resolve our differences is through dialogue and bringing all perspectives to discussion. On that night, if the men of our neighborhood block did not take the guts to stop the angry mob, more lives and property would have been damaged. Those people did their part in saving their block of residents. They defended human rights of the people of one community in our block. Someone else would have done it in the block of Daman. My fathers and neighbors had a calling to the conscience that night. They defended human rights of people of our community, the right to live. And yes, freedom got defined in a new way for me then and resonates with me today. Paropkarai punyai papai paripidnam. Doing service to others is the best virtue, and hurting anyone else is your biggest infirmity. And that, my friends, is freedom. To serve others is freedom, and to hurt others is not freedom, period. My executive director, Reverend Stephen Avino, and our amazing colleagues at our office, Miriam Kuzeda, Emma Carr, Emily Echeverria, Dr. Miriam Renaud, Jesse Smith, Miriam Belinsky, Shannon Boley, Danny Ramirez, Susan Trichman, and Reverend Flynn Rush. We all have worked painstakingly since October of 2021 to bring to us this forum where dialogues are exchanged, communication is sought, and solutions are designed. If over the next 5 days, with Stephen and his team and myself with the board and management, have created anything that is unpleasant, that does not meet your expectations, I seek forgiveness. Mitami Dukram, as by no means our intention is to hurt you by thought, words, or actions. With the help of our office colleagues and my co-chair, Reverend Dr. Scott Stearman, and James Lynch, our secretary, Reverend Charlene Manuel, our treasurer, Imam Safid Kovit, our program chair, Reverend Phyllis Curate, and my entire board, comprising of Sahar Al-Sahalani, Naeem Beg, Rabi Michael Belinsky, Kehkashan Basu, Reverend Tracy Blackmon, Deborah Bordeaux, Louis Cardinal, Dolly Dastur, Dr. Mary Doak, Father Robert Flannery, Dr. Manohar Singh Grewal, David Hales, Rabbi Sidney Helbron, Swami Ishatamananda, Dr. Laurel Kearns, Bruce Knott, Tom Lemberg, Maharuk Motafram, Carl Murrell, Caleb Nyquist, Dr. Kusumita Pedersen, Maharat Rory Nickerbees, Congressman Bobby Rush, Venerand Damadeepa Sak, Dr. Harpreet Singh, Sharon Singh, Ann Smith, and the man who found this location for our 2 days convening, Reverend Dr. Michael Trice. I welcome you all to the 9th convening of the Parliament of the World's Religions. As we walk down from the bridge from the north and the south side of this convention center, look up to the banners as they represent the journey we have all had in the various convenings of the Parliament. And when you get to this lakeside center, look at the beautiful world that we can all create and not be divided into north and south blocks. Reach out to the fellow humans around you and greet them to understand their perspectives. For without dialogue, we cannot shatter walls, as we need to continue to build a lot of bridges. Thank you all, and let us have a constructive time over the next 5 days. And in this way, celebrate humanity with all its differences. Thank you, and Jai Jinendra.
Please welcome the Executive Director of the Parliament of the World's Religions, Reverend Stephen Avino.
How's everyone doing today? So in the interest of time, I will forego giving an 8-minute speech, but I will give you a speech later in the week because I have a lot to say. I want to just say thank you for coming. All of you made a choice. You upended your lives to get here today to defend freedom and human rights and stand for what's good in this world. Thank you. The next 5 days, we have some exciting programming for you, but there's going to be a lot of work, there's going to be a lot of hard discussions, a lot of dialogue, and a lot of learning. And I hope you're excited for it. Welcome to Chicago. And right now we have an exciting performance for you.
very grateful.
In Chinese tradition, the dragon and lion represent well-being, fortune, and commonwealth, and common peace. Thank you so much.
Please welcome Walt Whitman and the Soul Children of Chicago.
Welcome to the city of Chicago. The Soul Children, drug-free, gang-free, academically inclined. We are just happy to be here celebrating 42 years. We want you to just feel welcome. Everybody say, hey. All right, we getting ready to do this thing. Come on, let's go. Chicagoland, we welcoming you here. It's where we've grown. It's where we work. It's where we live. Now we're going to just share a little bit about Chicago for you. We know the history. Big shoulder. Talk to him, tell him. But the temple will is tower. There's nothing like this city. Nothing like our pride. Can y'all just put your hands together and just clap, say. what you can see about Chicago. I don't care what the news media said. These kids are drug-free, gang-free, academically inclined. These are the kind of kids that you want in leadership. We got a little song for you. Everybody say, wake up! Say, wake up!
America to South Africa, it is time to make a better day. Awake, all ye nation, heed the call to all society. Awake, all ye people, if you care about humanity. Nigeria, Italy, hear what I have to say. India, South America, open your ears. Let's make a better day. Away, all ye nation, heed the call to all society.
Somebody just wave at us, just wave. Wave. Wave.
Call ye people.
We're all here for one purpose.
About humanity.
Wake up, everybody, wake up.
We've got work to do. Wake up, everybody. It depends on me and you. We've got work to do.
Wake up! Parliament of the world's religions. You are here for a purpose. We got work to do. Somebody make some noise!
Please welcome former Congressman from Illinois' 1st Congressional District and House Committee Chair, Bobby Rush.
Sweet home, Chicago. Sweet home, Chicago. For the last 8 or 9 months, I have been a trustee of this great gathering of faith groups from around the world. And it's been the highlight of my life to see so many disparate and different faith groups coming together under the umbrella of love to attack the problems of the world. I join with you. I commit myself to you. Together, you and I can change the world. Together, you and I can make a difference in every land, in every faith, in every human being, in all the world. We can make a difference. We can be better, you and I, and we must be better through faith, through faith, through faith. In my faith, in the Holy Scripture, there is a story of a prodigal son who prematurely left home, took his inheritance, went into faraway lands, and squandered his inheritance. And so he found himself in a different land, destitute, without food, without shelter, without even decent clothing. And so in his desperation, he remembered home. So he decided to come back home. And so when he came home, his father saw him from afar. And his father told his servant, get prepared for my son because he was lost and now he's found, he's coming home. And so they prepared a party for him, a great party. But the story goes there was another son who had been there dutiful with his father all along, while the young son was squandering his money and having a good time. The son who remained home felt indignant. I have been here working to do the things that I was supposed to do while my irresponsible brother was somewhere having a good time. The father told him, your brother has come home. He was once lost, and now he is found. And I'm telling the parliament right now, welcome home. But we cannot leave home again. We got work to do right here in this great city that we love, Chicago. We have to bring the faith community together right here at home to help solve Chicago's problems that are here at home. Only the faith group, only the different faiths can come together to solve this problem of difference and division that divides our city. And once we take care of home, then we can take care of other homes around the world. But I tell you, welcome home, home, sweet home. Home is where the love is. Welcome home, Parliament of World Religion.
Please welcome the U.S. Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom, Rashad Hussain.
Good morning. What a beautiful, beautiful audience. I can't think of a group that represents our country better than you. And I can't think of a group that represents our world better than you. And I have to say, the choir so beautifully captures the spirit of this incredible city, and I could sit here and listen to them all day. It's truly an honor to be with you amongst such incredible leaders from all around the globe, including the mayor of the city, Mayor Johnson. I want to thank him, and I want to thank you all for your wonderful hospitality. This is a city that's known around the world, not just for bringing us one of the greatest and most beautiful skylines that we have on our planet, not only for bringing us Michael Jordan, President Obama, some of the world's greatest universities and scholars, Nobel laureates, but also the birth of the modern interfaith movement. This is also the city that my own father came to when he came to the United States. He grew up in a village with no electricity in India and came to the United States, first to Chicago in the late 1960s. 130 years after the world's first parliament, right here in Chicago, and 25 years after the passage of the International Religious Freedom Act, we meet again at a crossroads. Religious freedom is challenged. It's challenged in so many places around the world, but the growing movement that you all represent is responding. And your movement is growing stronger and stronger, as evidenced by all of you who are gathered here today. Chicago is also one of the most diverse cities in the world, including one of the most religiously diverse cities, and it is a testament to the principles that we stand for when we answer the following question, which is, who are you as Americans, who are you as the United States to stand up for human rights and for religious freedom for people everywhere in the world? I believe we are uniquely situated to answer that question for a number of reasons. First of all, many of our founding fathers of our great country came to the United States themselves fleeing religious persecution. And religious freedom was so important to them that they enshrined in our Constitution a Bill of Rights that begins with the First Amendment, which promises us all the freedom of religion. We are also a country that is made up of people from literally every corner of this planet. And when they come here to the United States, they don't forget where they came from. They advocate, they stand up to defend the rights of their families, of their loved ones, from wherever they came. And they speak clearly to us as government officials, and they would have it no other way than for us to stand up and to defend religious freedom for all people around the world. So when this question is asked, who are you to defend religious freedom? In many ways, the answer is that we are representatives of people from all around the world here in the United States, and we will never shy away from defending our values all around the world. I'm honored to serve on behalf of the American people for President Biden, for Secretary Blinken, and to stand up for human rights and for religious freedom everywhere, and to continue a bipartisan tradition of exposing, countering, and preventing violations of religious freedom around the world. I do so working closely with my predecessors, Ambassador Sam Brownback, Ambassador David Saperstein, and others. And I think it sends a powerful signal around the world that the last 3 ambassadors for religious freedom are from the Jewish, Christian, and Muslim communities. It sends a powerful signal about what our country represents, and we stand up for the rights of all people everywhere, regardless of their beliefs. As a part of our work every day, it is our job to expose the oppression that is occurring around the world. Each year, our office issues a report that goes country by country and outlines the repression that people face. So if you ever wonder whether the oppression of any people in any part of the world escapes our attention, the answer is in those reports that we issue every single year. We're also steadfast in standing up for individuals who are facing persecution. It's not uncommon that in the middle of the night, we receive messages about someone who may be unfairly detained or imprisoned. And we know that every minute, every hour that we wait can cost that person their lives. And so we do this work of communicating with governments and working with civil society around the world to address discriminatory laws and discriminatory policies, including the use of apostasy laws, including the use of blasphemy laws. And we're working to counter the dangerous tide of restrictions that we're seeing on religious freedom around the world, including the scourge of anti-Semitism. I traveled recently with our second gentleman, Douglas Emhoff, to the Holocaust sites along with our anti-Semitism envoy, Professor Deborah Lipstadt, as we've done with delegations of religious leaders from around the world. We're standing up against anti-Muslim hatred that we're seeing as well. We have recognized that the 2 most recently declared genocides and crimes against humanity are occurring against Rohingya and the Uyghurs at the hands of the People's Republic of China. We're also deeply involved in efforts to prevent and to educate. One of the most important declarations that you all have led as religious leaders was in 2016, the Marrakesh Declaration, which is a declaration on the rights of people of all faiths, particularly in Muslim-majority countries. It was you that came together as civil society leaders and made that happen. So this work is impossible without you, without your expertise, without your leadership. It is necessary to address some of the most pressing challenges that our planet faces, including the climate crisis, poverty, attacks on human rights, challenges to development, and the rise in hate-fueled violence. Later today, in addition to visiting with many of you, I'll have the chance to go to see the Inner City Muslim Action Network right here in the south side of Chicago. That is a testament on the ground to so much of the work that you're doing and represents the transformative impact that we can have as we're driven by our values that are rooted in faith as we address some of the major challenges that we face. So now is a critical time. It is not a time for us to be fixated on our differences, but it is a time for us to come together, recognizing that we don't seek uniformity. We celebrate our differences, we celebrate our traditions, but we must have a unity in purpose. And as all of you are gathered here today, I ask that you continue to work together, and we're honored to continue to work with you as we build partnerships that will be essential to addressing the challenges of our time. Thank you so very much. Thank you for being here and for all the work that you're doing.
Please welcome the Attorney General for the state of Illinois, Kwame Raoul.
Good morning. And another good morning. Welcome to Chicago. And when I welcome you to Chicago, I welcome you home, because we are a community, we are a city of 77 communities of people of different national origins, different faith, different beliefs, but we come together in a common belief of peace and love. I embrace the theme of this convening, a call to conscience, defending freedom and human rights. You have brought together a diverse group of people of faith to work collectively towards peace, justice, and sustainability. Although you may worship differently, you are brought together by a commonality, peace and love. I am truly blessed to serve as the state of Illinois' 42nd Attorney General. In that capacity, I serve on behalf of the state. And I know that they say there is a separation of church and state. But for me, when I walk into that government building, I do not leave my faith at the door. I bring it in with me. I do not abandon the underlying principle of peace and love that drives my faith. I bring my faith as well as the love for God and God's children as my driving force. And for that love to be effective, it must be an active love. I can't just say that I love you and I love God. I must show you that I do so through my duties as Attorney General. And so that's why I've taken on the challenge of fighting hate and those that seek to divide us and offend against our freedom and our human rights. On an everyday basis, we work actively to combat the rise of hate. We do not do it alone. We do it with a community of faith leaders and other advocates. We worked to protect houses of worship from targeted violence. We work actively to prosecute hate crimes. We use civil litigation to fight discrimination based on one's faith, their race, or national origin. We hold accountable some of these social media platforms that have allowed their platforms to be used as a tool of division or to sow hate. We carry out all of these acts and more out of that foundation of peace and love, and that is an active love. And so, again, I welcome you to the city of Chicago as you convene today to have exchanges on defending freedom and human rights. And I ask all of you to embrace your neighbors and to embrace the concept of not only love, but active love. Thank you so much.
Hello, welcome to Chicago. Religion tells us blessed are the peacemakers. But history reminds us that religion too many times has been twisted to justify division and injustice. By seeking to build respect and understanding among the world's faith traditions, the Parliament of World Religions really offers hope. hope that humanity can work together for our common good, hope that we can join together to ease suffering, end conflict, increase freedom, dignity, and opportunity for all people, and hope that we can save our one precious planet from climate catastrophe while there is still time. Thanks for being hope seekers and bridge builders, and best wishes for a successful conference.
Hi everyone, this is Governor J.B. Pritzker. Welcome back to Chicago. I'm so sorry that I can't join you for this year's Parliament of World Religions, but I know the work you do this week will help us foster a more peaceful, just, and sustainable world. Faith leaders play an important role in advancing human rights, as well as protecting democracy and freedom. By meeting this week and cultivating harmony among the world's religions and spiritual communities, you are bringing us one step closer to a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. I hope you enjoy celebrating the richness of our world's religious and spiritual traditions, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Please welcome pagan priestess and spiritual and community healer, Reverend Laura Gonzalez.
To our great mother, Tonatsin. Okay, I don't know how to do this. Help somebody? I'm coming. Okay, thank you. Beautiful. Can you hear me now? All right. To our great mother, Tonatsin. Wait, Tonatsin, wait, Tonatsin, wait, Tonatsin. Wait, Tonatsin, wait, Tonatsin, wait, Tonatsin. Ipalnemo wani no yo lokali, plasoka mati Tonatsin. Ipalnemo wani no yo lokali, plasoka mati Tonatsin. Wait, Tonatsin, wait, Tonatsin, wait, Tonatsin. Wait, Tonatsin, wait, Tonatsin, wait, Tonatsin. Ipalnemo wani no yo lokatsin, plasoka mati Tonatsin. Ipalnemo wani no yo lokatsin, plasoka mati Tonatsin. Wait, Tonatsin, wait, Tonatsin, wait, Tonatsin. Wait, Tonatsin, wait, Tonatsin, wait, Tonatsin. Ipalnemo wani no yo lotatsin, plasoka mati Tonatsin. Ipalnemo wani no yo lotatsin, plasoka mati Tonatsin. A nuestra Madre, una oración de Cristian Ortiz. Madre nuestra que estás en los cielos y en la tierra y en todas partes, bendita sea tu belleza y tu abundancia. Trae a nuestros corazones la llave que abre el portal del amor. Que cada uno de nosotros respete las costumbres de todos los seres y el ejercicio del perdón sea parte de nuestra existencia. Que demos la bienvenida en nuestra mesa para compartir con todos el alimento sagrado. Madre nuestra que estás en los cielos y en la tierra y en todas partes, que seas la guía de nuestros pasos, que el ritmo de nuestros corazones sean con el corazón de la tierra y así podemos venerar su bendito ritmo. Que las estrellas nos guíen en las noches oscuras. El sol y la luna abracen nuestros cuerpos. Oh gran espíritu, oh gran madre, oh mujer sagrada. Our mother, who art in heaven, and on earth and everywhere. Blessed be your beauty and your abundance. Bring to our hearts the key that opens the portal of love. May each of us respect the customs of all beings and the exercise of forgiveness as part of our existence. May we welcome at our table to share with everyone the sacred food. Our Mother, who art in heaven and on earth and everywhere. May you be the guide of our steps. May the rhythm of our hearts be with the heart of the earth. And so we can worship its blessed rhythm. May the star guide us through the dark nights, and the sun and moon embrace our bodies. O great Spirit, O great Mother, O sacred woman. Tlazohcamati.
Dear friends, I'm pleased to send greetings to the Parliament of the World's Religions as you gather in Chicago. You represent religious traditions in their magnificent diversity, but you are united by a shared faith in our common humanity. This spirit of unity is what brings you together, and it is the spirit our world needs more than ever. We need to unite to tackle the big challenges of our time. From war and conflict, hate and discrimination, hunger and poverty, to our burning planet. To sail safely through these turbulent seas, we must stay true to the essential values common to all religions and central to the United Nations. Compassion, solidarity, respect for the dignity and rights of every person. These universal values animate the United Nations Charter and are at the core of our work for peace and sustainable development. They are also at the heart of your theme this year, a call to conscience, defending freedom and human rights. I deeply appreciate your commitment to reach out across communities and come together as one human family, sharing burdens, solving problems, and seizing opportunities. Thank you for inspiring the best in each of us to build a better world for all of us.
Please welcome Reverend Stephen Avino and representatives of the Council of Religious Leaders of Metropolitan Chicago.
I'm now pleased to welcome members of the Council of Religious Leaders of Metropolitan Chicago. Founded in 1984, the Council promotes cooperation, understanding, and collaboration among the faith communities of the Chicago. They do this to advance the common good. It is comprised of the head religious leadership of almost every major religious tradition in the Chicago area, and the Council speaks with a unified moral voice on issues of the day, promotes interfaith understanding and respect, and supports local religious communities. I am pleased to introduce President Barbara Abrahano, who brings words of welcome from the Council.
Thank you, Stephen. Good morning. Distinguished faith leaders, honored teachers, local and international guests. On behalf of the Council of Religious Leaders, where a number of them are behind me, I welcome you to our city and to this extraordinary convening of the Parliament of the World's Religions. It is good to have you here in Chicago, the birthplace of this Parliament. Our council was founded so that Chicago could hear the voices of its many and diverse faith communities, united in speaking to the crucial issues we all face. Our work is a direct continuation of the work of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. 60 years ago, Dr. King convened here the Chicago National Conference on Religion and Race. This extraordinary meeting of leaders from across this country was convened to issue an appeal to the conscience of the American people to take action and eliminate racism. It marked the first time that official bodies of Judaism, Roman Catholicism, and Protestantism had jointly and publicly conferred to express agreement on anything. Different faith communities working together to serve the common good is the foundation of the Council of Religious Leaders of Metropolitan Chicago. It is also the core of the Parliament of the world's religions. What I want to stress today are two important lessons from interreligious work. First, interfaith collaboration has tremendous power. No single community of faith can work alone to resolve the challenges that all of us face together. Finding common ground can be difficult in a world filled with people who promote fear and division. They advocate subordination instead of equality. They prefer ignorance to evidence. Their answer is violence instead of accommodation or respect. You are the voice of reason. You are the moral consciousness. They betray the values of every faith tradition represented in this room. But if we stand together for what we all believe, then our diversity is our greatest strength. We show people there is another, better way. The second lesson is our unity of vision is hollow unless we act on our beliefs. People are comfortable with religious leaders who talk about peace and justice, but make no effort to realize these ideals at home. Change only comes when we match the words of our sacred teachings with our daily actions in our community. Dr. King knew that living the teachings of Jesus was dangerous. It required discipline. It made other people uncomfortable. It involved personal sacrifice. But Dr. King understood that we must love our neighbor and show them we love in how we believe and behave. When our neighbors see our commitment to peace and justice in our lives, then they can join us in creating a better world. Let us unite in our common issues. Let us speak faithfully, and let our deeds match our words, both this week and when we return home. May you enjoy your time in Chicago and at this Parliament. Thank you.
Please welcome the Chairman of the Council of Islamic Organizations of Greater Chicago, Dr. Muhammad Abdulghany Hamedeh.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of God, the Merciful, the Beneficent. Honored and distinguished guests of the 2023 Parliament of World Religion, Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. Greetings of peace and blessings upon our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik alayh. It is my honor to address our internationally acclaimed and our homegrown guests this morning here in our great city of Chicago. On behalf of the Council of Islamic Organizations of Greater Chicago, CIOGC, I would like to welcome you all to the Parliament with this year's theme, A Call to Conscience, Defending Freedom and Human Rights. The Council is proud to be participating in this historic event, the convening of the Parliament and the return to its birthplace, Chicago. Welcome to this momentous gathering where we are united by our core beliefs, traditions, and recognition that we need to advocate and harvest love and support for one another, to live in peace and harmony, and to make sustainable changes in the world. We welcome you to Chicago. Chicago is the home of one of the largest Muslim communities in the United States, one of the most popular Muslim-friendly city in the country. Chicago's Muslim community is well known for its trailblazing and historic accomplishments in establishing the country's model for our mosques, educational institutions, and community centers. The Council represents over 70 mosques, Islamic institutions, and service organizations, and for 31 years has been Chicago's leading organization in networking for our Muslim communities, bringing our community members vital resources, information, programming, helping Chicago's underrepresented communities, bringing our minority communities assistance with job opportunities, bringing our businesses resources, and helping refugees from many countries fleeing oppression and injustice. The Council's civic engagement work, interfaith initiatives, and along with our deep reach in government, community, and media relations, makes us the go-to platform for issues pertaining to Chicago Muslim communities. Islam believes in human rights for all people of all faiths. Islam empowers individuals and communities with teachings of accountability for one's actions. Leaders are to govern with justice, abolishing poverty and hunger, and provide education. In a world where diversity is our strength, our faiths inspire us to uphold the dignity of every human being. We find ourselves at a critical junction. The values we hold dear, freedom and human rights, and the sanctity of life are facing unprecedented challenges. As representatives of various religions and spiritual traditions, we must not only speak but act, not only hope but strive to safeguard these fundamental principles. Our faith is the moral compass guiding our actions. It reminds us that freedom we seek for ourselves should extend to others, and the rights we demand for ourselves must be championed for all. It urges us to challenge injustice, confront oppression, and embrace those whose voices have been silenced. It is an integral part of our faith. I'm going to say a couple of words in Arabic now. لقد كفل الإسلام لكل إنسان حقوقا متساوية، حقوقا منحها الله سبحانه وتعالى، ليست منحة من ملك أو حاكم أو منظمة أو سلطة، حقوقا لا تقبل التعطيل ولا التجزئة ولا النسخ ولا التبديل، ولا يسمح بالاعتداء عليها من أحد كائنا من كان. من هذه الحقوق حق الحياة الكريمة، حق الحرية، وحق المساواة والعدالة. كل ذلك مرسخ ومؤيد بنصوص إلهية حكيمة أو سنة نبوية شريفة. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في سورة النساء: إن الله يأمركم أن تؤدوا الأمانات إلى أهلها وإذا حكمتم بين الناس أن تحكموا بالعدل إن الله نعم ما يعظكم به إن الله كان سميعا بصيرا. وفي خطبة الوداع وقف رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم مؤكدا على هذه الحقوق قائلا: يا أيها الناس إن ربكم واحد وإن أباكم واحد لا فضل لعربي على عجمي ولا لعجمي على عربي إلا بالتقوى إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. Ladies and gentlemen, our faith teaches us that serving the needy and the oppressed is an important and integral part of our worship. It is my faith that inspired me and privileged me with participating in multiple medical missions to war-torn countries and sites of natural disasters with the Syrian American Medical Society, or SAMS, serving the Syrian refugees in multiple countries, and most recently, in the badly hit areas following the devastating earthquake that hit Turkey and Syria last November. I saw firsthand the profound impact a simple act of kindness will have on the lives of the children and people who have been displaced out of their homes and bombed out and had no one else to turn to. This is faith in action. In my missions, I have seen deep desperation, mental anguish, broken humans, but I also found deep inspiration and hope from those that are most affected, and it's all inspired by faith. In the last mission, I met a physician who fled the barbaric bombing of his town in Syria. He was working in northwest Syria, helping the displaced, working with SAMS, and his family was residing in Antakya and in Turkey when the earthquake hit. He immediately traveled there looking for his family, and he found the building was leveled. And as he was wandering the streets in despair, suddenly he heard a sound of his daughter, young daughter, calling his name. He eventually was united by his daughters, who bravely dug her way out for hours, pulling her little sister with her. However, unfortunately, her mother was found crushed, hugging her little boy, her little brother. When I asked that physician, "Why are you here working now instead of being with your family?" he said, "God saved my girls, and he's calling on me to save others." This is faith shining in the darkest of moments. This is faith in action. The power of this assembly lies not only in the words spoken, but in the actions taken beyond these walls. Let us harness the teachings of our faith to bridge divides, dispel ignorance, and promote empathy. By doing so, we uphold the legacy of our Prophet, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who championed justice and compassion. As we deliberate over coming days, may we renew our commitment to a world where every person's inherent worth is recognized, where freedom flourishes and human rights are non-negotiable. Let this gathering be a catalyst for a change and a source of inspiration, and a testament to the enduring strength of our shared humanity. Thank you for being here and for the profound impact you will undoubtedly make in shaping a better world for generations to come. Thank you very much.
Please welcome the head minister of the Conco Church of Chicago, Masanory Takeuchi.
Good morning. From now on, I would like to offer my prayer of blessing to Tenchi Kaneno Kami, the divine parent of the universe, in the Konkokyo style. Let us pray. Through the everlasting spirit of our founder, Konko Daijin, to Tenchi Kaneno Kami, divine parent of the universe, we gratefully come today with humble heart, full of joy, to celebrate the 2023 Parliament of the World Region here in Chicago. More than 200 leader groups from more than 80 nations gather here to find out the ideal characteristics of regional harmony, to unite the human race in faith for the future. With the gentle guidance, help us see your way of the universe more perfectly. Then lead us to coexist harmoniously with the beautiful nature that surrounds us. We ask that in all our works and your humility, we may become an example in your way of achieving true world peace and prosperity for all humankind. For the sake of the human race and the world, let us pray for humans to have a heart like that of the universe, to change this world into a more calmly fulfilling world. Let us live a life of gratitude in harmony with the universe. The Concord faith is the way of a peaceful and joyful heart, as the divine reminder indicates. It seeks the establishment era of peace and joyful heart of people, the workable era in this world. Our founder, Concord-Ibañez, taught us, if people live every moment in the teaching, on this very day pray with a single heart, divine blessing within your own peaceful and joyful heart, the glory of Kami will appear, and true world peace will be attainable. In order to accomplish peace and justice throughout the world, Kami's glory should first appear. Kami's arrangement of working definitely needs to be the foundation. Let us pray for this world. Let us work hard for this world. Let us strive for a world that is filled with the peaceful and joyful heart of all people. May this earth we love so much become a place where divinity and humanity will meet together in prayer, rejoice together in gratitude, and delight together in mutual satisfaction. May the 2023 Parliament of the World Region, Chicago, have a great success as you are. Thank you very much.
Please welcome President of the Buddhist Council of the Midwest, Reverend Asayo Horibe.
Good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu. Is it still before noon? I'm good. Buenos dias. Bonsoir. Aloha. Sawadika. On behalf of my family, my community, my city, my state, and the Buddhist Council of the Midwest, I want to welcome you to this gathering of the Parliament of the World's Religions. It's been my privilege to be a former trustee and a participant of this gathering since 1993. I am so grateful for the friendships that have come my way since the beginning of this journey. While you're here for the next 5 days, you will be offered the exposure to the world. You'll have the opportunity to observe, to listen, to share, and to appreciate the many ways we have now to learn, to live, and survive in this home that we call the earth. We're given the ability to make choices on how our life should be. My teachers told me that anyone can be your teacher. There are options out there, and only we can know if we pick the right one. Our sheroes and our heroes are Jesus, Ruth, Muhammad, the Buddha, Guru Nanak, Thich Nhat Hanh, Mother Teresa, Jane Goodall, Greta Thunberg, and many more. We have free will and many options to choose our heroes and our sheroes. In our many cultures and spiritual traditions, they have different names. Some in Buddhism, we call them bodhisattvas. Ask a Buddhist what a bodhisattva is. In Christianity, we call them saints. In Sikhism, we call them gurus. In Hinduism, we call them Swami. However we name them, they have shown us our choices, and they've shown their wisdom with us. They've shared it with us. We always have the option to choose. We have the option to choose whichever one works for us. As the Buddha taught, there are 84,000 ways to get to the top of the mountain. We do not always know how to be respectful, kind, or compassionate. Please continue to show me how to say your name, how I may greet you, and always let me know if I've made a mistake and harmed you. I may be over 3/4 of a century on this planet, but I'm still learning and practicing. Let's all travel this journey to be one in the community, to be one in humanity, and to share the burden to save this earth, our home. Can you be open to observe, to listen, and to share and appreciate the treasures of the diversity and the oneness, because you and I are one. I thank you all for your kind attention. I'm sorry, I forgot namaste. Enjoy the conference. Talk to everybody. Greet everybody. And go home with the treasures that you've received at this gathering. Be safe. Take care of your life.
Please welcome the Principal Representative of the United Nations for the Baha'i International Community, Bani Dugal.
Friends and distinguished colleagues, I'm pleased to be here at this opening session of the Parliament of World Religions, and I bring you greetings from the global Baha'i community. I will also note in passing that the original Parliament in 1893 saw the first public mention of the Baha'i faith in North America, when a paper written by the Christian minister, Reverend Henry Jessup, quoted a passage from the writings of Baha'u'llah. This year sees the Parliament returning to the city of its birth. And notably, this year will witness another important milestone, the 75th anniversary of the signing of the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. The Declaration and its progeny of human rights instruments have provided the international community with a normative framework that recognizes the inherent dignity of the individual and elaborates the rights and responsibilities upon which a peaceful society can be built. Articulation of this framework was a critical advance in the codification of global norms. It is central to our theme here today, a call to conscience, defending freedom and human rights. Yet, the challenge that has long confronted governments and communities alike has been translating these norms into lived realities for the peoples of the world. Movement in this direction requires tools of policy and procedure, but these alone, if devoid of moral and ethical commitment, cannot fulfill the promise of dignity, freedom, and essential human rights. A truly harmonious and constructive society can only be maintained by moral beings. It requires the application of conscience. Far from sterile abstraction, then, ideals of conscience, freedom, and human rights reflect the aspirations of principled actors seeking to build a better world. Those ideals are defined in large part by a sense of common purpose, transcending one's own concerns and interests. In this regard, it seems only natural that the world's great faith traditions have consistently advocated rights-based principles, such as the care for the sick, provision for the poor, liberation of the oppressed, and justice for the wronged. Beyond advocating admirable principles, religious communities at their highest have been instrumental in defining the parameters of what ideals such as justice, decency, and compassion mean in practice and look like in society. Religion has played a crucial role in securing their place in human consciousness and expanding their boundaries to larger and larger groups of beneficiaries. Baha'u'llah wrote of this gradual process of widening the scope of affinity and care, noting that in every age and cycle of God hath wondrous essence recreated all things, so that whatsoever reflecteth in the heavens and on earth the signs of his glory may not be deprived of the outpourings of his mercy. Many today feel that religion is as much an obstacle as it is an asset in translating noble ideals into lived realities. Sadly, such views are not without justification. The name of religion has all too often been invoked in support of the worldly and the cruel. Yet, a future worthy of humanity's highest aspirations is defined as much by qualities of spirit, such as equality, solidarity, generosity, and justice, as it is by material resources, such as technology and infrastructure. Societies that have disregarded the spiritual foundations at the heart of every religion have consistently struggled to address the challenges inherent in the narrowly materialistic concepts of reality. Ills such as the drive toward accumulation and acquisition, the exaltation of power and prestige, the forms of self-satisfaction and idle comfort. What these realities suggest is the need to devote attention to learning how religion can increasingly serve as a means to awaken and cultivate the high-minded and noble attributes latent in every soul. Within such an environment, religious communities come to function as communities of practice, where spiritual practices and principles and teachings are applied thoughtfully to the life of society for the benefit of all. Within them, a process that enables increasing numbers to participate in the transformation of society and protects and nurtures them can be set in motion. This is central to the vision of the worldwide Baha'i community and its understanding of how religion can support and inform the call to conscience in all spheres of life. In that spirit, I conclude with the following words of Baha'u'llah, read in a previous iteration of this very space some 130 years ago on behalf of Reverend Jessup, that all nations should become one in faith and all men as brothers, that the bonds of affection and unity between the sons of men should be strengthened, that diversity of religions should cease, and differences of race be annulled. What harm is there in this? Yet so shall it be. These fruitless strifes, these ruinous wars shall pass away, and the most great peace shall come. Thank you.
Please welcome the Chief of Faith Engagement at the City of Chicago, Reverend Henry Vance.
Good morning, Parliament. Good morning again. My name is Reverend Vance Henry. What an extraordinary day today is for the Parliament of the world's religions. I want to take this occasion to congratulate you on your 130th year anniversary. Oh, come on, you can do better than that. It is extraordinary to think that 130 years ago, religious leaders like those who've gathered here today met to discuss the critical needs and issues of the world in which they lived and worshiped, to figure out, based upon those critical issues and needs, what the religious community could do to respond to the needs of their day. And so 130 years later, in this room are religious leaders that represent more than 80 nations. And I just want to take this occasion to congratulate you for coming together 130 years later to discuss the critical needs in our world today and how the religious community can respond to those needs. In the book of Psalms, King David was quoted to have said, "I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul will make her boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear thereof and rejoice. Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together." If you love the God of David, why don't you put your hands together and join me in giving him some praise. To Reverend Steve Avino, our wonderful executive director, the chairman of the board of the World Parliament of Religions, the other officers, members, and friends of the World Parliament, to all of the elected officials, and to all of you who have gathered here today, coming from more than 80 nations to join in this week of activities. Again, we want to welcome you, and I want to congratulate you for your commitment to respond and to discuss how we as religious leaders can meet the needs in our communities. In the world in which we live today, we don't have to look far to see darkness and division. In fact, as we look around the globe, we see darkness and division in far too many places. When we look at the war in Ukraine, and we see how hospitals and nursing homes and educational centers are being intentionally bombed, and then we see the horrible loss of life and the rubble that is left behind, we see darkness and division in our world. But not only that, when we see tribal conflicts, when we see the conflict in Palestine, in the Middle East, when Palestinians and Jews are fighting, when we look in Africa and we see tribal conflicts, when we look in Asia and Europe and we see tribal conflicts, we understand that darkness and division is all around. But not only that, when we see darkness, we can even see darkness and division here in the United States of America. Every day in the nation's capital, Democrats and Republicans are fighting over the tragic events of January 6th. We see this darkness and division. The foreboding and shadowing clouds of darkness and division are cast over our country as we watch Democrats and Republicans fight over policies like those that will be discussed this week. We see darkness and division. I want to commend the Parliament for coming together in the face of darkness and division to discuss the critical issues of our day, to discuss civil and human rights, to discuss climate change, food insecurity, and economic justice. And then just the other day in Montgomery, Alabama, we saw this same darkness and division when an innocent black man who was just doing his job was attacked by a hate-filled group of white people just for doing his job. We see this darkness and division. That's the bad news. I wouldn't be a Baptist preacher if I didn't offer, as I close and I head to my seat, some good news. In the Christian scriptures, Jesus offers us some good news. He says in Matthew chapter 5, "You are the light of the world." In a dark and divided world, we are the light of the world. But he doesn't stop there. He said, "Let our light so shine in this dark and divided world so that people would see our good deeds and glorify our Father in heaven." In a very similar way, Sir Edmund Burke, that old wise and sage-like statesman, said it this way: "The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing." In other words, what Sir Edmund Burke was saying was that if good people decide to hide their light, darkness and division will continue. The beloved Reverend Willie Taplin Barrow said it this way: "We're not so divided as we are disconnected." What am I trying to say? As I close today, let me see if I can make it plain by offering this brief but profound story. When I was about 5 years old, the lights went out in my neighborhood. Not only did the lights go out in my neighborhood, but the lights went out, in fact, on my block. And the lights went out in the home where I lived. Me and my cousins that weekend were spending the weekend with my grandparents. And understanding the situation, my grandmother, in her wise way, quickly gathered all of us together around her and explained a profound life lesson. She said to us as she gathered us all around her in that dark house, she said, "You can either curse the darkness or you can light a candle." And as she gathered us all around her and she walked us from room to room in that house, and each one of those rooms she had strategically placed candles. And as we walked in each room, she handed us a candle and she began to light it. And she said to us, "You have the option in your life to curse the darkness or to light a candle." Before we knew it, as we had gone from each room to the other, we recognized that a house that had been dark had become lit up by those candles. We realized that as we got together, we could force the darkness away. What am I saying? I want to suggest to us as I close today that in the same way as we gather together from 80 nations around our world, if we decide to put our lights together, we can force the darkness away. As I close, I want to say that Oliver Wendell Holmes was correct when he said the wonderful thing about the world is not so much the place in which we stand, but in which direction we're headed. And I want to suggest to us today that we are headed in the right direction as long as we continue to gather together, to put our lights together and force the darkness away. I'm going to see the mayor later today, and so if you would be so kind as to join me and do your hands like this. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll be able to tell the mayor that I was able to shake all of your hands. God bless you today.
Please welcome the president of the Vivekananda Society of Chicago, Swami Ishtakananda.
सर्वधर्म स्थापकस्तं सर्वधर्म स्वरूपकः आचार्याणां महाचार्यो रामकृष्णायते नमः. I bow down to that Supreme Being who took the form of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna to practice and propagate the unity in diversity. I, Swami Ishatmananda of the Ramakrishna Order, take this honor to welcome you all on behalf of the Hinduism, the third largest religion of the world, into this great confluence of unity in diversity. Hinduism believes in the divinity of every being. From that point of view, we are all one. Apparently, we are different. Our features are different, dresses are different, languages are different. Our cultures are different, but in reality, we are all the same spirit, and same consciousness is present in all of us. Apparently, we are practicing different religions, following different paths. But in reality, we are going to the same goal, that is God, who manifests at love and unselfishness. God is nothing but love and unselfishness. Friends, we can give an example that we are going from in different way, but reaching to the same goal. Suppose from Chicago, we go to Washington, D.C. I can go by road. I can take the train. I can fly. Different means of transportation, but we are reaching to the same goal. The same way, another example, that we can give some students studying mathematics, maybe one in Japan, one in Great Britain, one in India, one in US. But at the same, when they are completing their graduation in that subject, they can teach the subject anywhere. Similarly, different paths, different modes, different practices, different religion, all are leading to the same goal. Friends, there are forces that always try to divide us so that they can rule over humanity. We have to be united to protect our freedom, and freedom is our birthright. Swami Vivekananda, the Hindu monk who attended the first Parliament of World Religions in Chicago in 1893, he used to say, freedom, freedom, freedom. Freedom is the first condition of growth. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Freedom is the song of the soul. Friends, the relation between religion and human beings, like the relation between water and the fish. Fish cannot survive without water. Similarly, a human cannot survive, cannot remain a human without religion. But if the water becomes contaminated, that becomes the cause of death for the fish. Similarly, if the sectarianism, bigotry, fanaticism enter into religion, then that becomes the source of suffering for the human being. We have to be vigilant in this front. You are all aware that the first Parliament of Religion in 1893 began with a unique slogan, Let all religions be united against all irreligion. After 130 years, standing on the soil of Chicago, let us also take this vow. We, the followers of religion, stand hand in hand against all irreligion to defend our freedom, our human rights. Please join with me in this universal prayer and repeat after me loudly. Let everyone be free from suffering. Let everyone think positively. Let everyone have positive thoughts. Let everyone be happy every moment, everywhere. Om, peace, peace, peace unto all. Namaskar.
Please welcome the Executive Secretary of the Board of Trustees for the Sikh Religious Society of Chicago, Akhar Singh.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. The salutation means Khalsa, the pure, the saint soldier, belongs to the Almighty, and any victory that Khalsa gets, spiritually or worldly, belongs to the Almighty. Good afternoon. Actually, I had good morning, but it looks like we are already past noon here. So I am blessed and honored to have an opportunity to be in the company of spiritually wise people who have gathered today to participate in the Parliament of World Religion. The living, eternal spiritual master of Sikhs, Tan Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Holy Scripture, has a verse from the ninth master, Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, that characterizes spiritually wise person. Paikahu ko det na hai, neh pa manat aan, kaho nanak sunare mana, gyani tahe bakhan. One who does not frighten anyone and who is not afraid of anyone else, says Nanak, listen mine, call him spiritually wise. A spiritually wise person does not threaten anyone else, but at the same time fearlessly expresses thoughts, defends freedom and rights of others. These are not just words but the ninth master led this by example. When one of the prominent faiths in India that was being persecuted and forced to convert to another religion approached him for protection and guidance, he stood up for them, for their rights and freedom to practice their religion. Hearing their plea, he told him to tell the rulers of India at the time that if he could convert Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji into his religion, they will convert as well. He was arrested in Delhi. In attempts to convert him, his disciples who accompanied him were executed in front of him. Bhai Sati Das Ji was executed by means of being wrapped in a cotton wool, soaked in oil, and set on fire. Bhai Mati Das Ji was executed by being bound between two pillars and cut in two. Bhai Dayala Ji was boiled in a big cauldron full of water. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji remained firm, unmoved. He was publicly beheaded in Chandni Chowk, a market square close to the Red Fort in Delhi. While the human history has many examples of martyrs who have laid their lives defending freedom and human rights, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's martyrdom remains a unique example of spiritual master sacrificing his life to protect the religious freedom rights of another faith. The martyrdom of the ninth master led to creation of Khalsa, the saint soldier, by the 10th master, Guru Gobind Singh Ji. The saint precedes the soldier because the saintly qualities keeps the Khalsa grounded on the spiritual path, always seeing one in all, in every situation, whether serving humanity during natural disaster crisis or be a battlefield, rising on the call to the duty of protecting human rights and freedom, keeping high morale and spirits even in those tough situations. That fearless martial spirit to speak up for human rights and freedom while serving humanity continues in Sikhs even today. The Eternal Master, Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, characterizes a spiritual hero. Sura so pehchani hai jo lare deen ke het, purja purja kat mare kabuna chhade khet. He alone is known as a spiritual hero who fights in defense of those in need. He may be cut apart piece by piece, but he never leaves the battlefield. Each religion and faith have their unique paths that realizes the value of a precious human life to reach the same destination. The message of Guru Nanak, the first master of Sikhs, is of universal brotherhood, oneness, calling on every faith to practice the core tenets of their own faith with every moment of their life, remembering and seeing the one that is amongst all of us. Sab meh jot, jot hai soe, tis da chanan, sab meh chanan hoye. Amongst all is the light. You are that light. By this illumination, that light is radiant within all. You have heard your conscience and are here to attend, share, learn, discuss, and fearlessly talk about defending freedom and human rights. The world we are in today requires an open dialogue on an interfaith platform like the ones you are participating in today that promotes cooperation, brotherhood, hearing and respecting each other's perspectives, learning about each other's belief. Your presence here demonstrates your support and importance of promoting an interfaith dialogue. I have a strong belief that whatever we have learned during this event, we will be reflecting on those and taking these experiences back to our own communities. Let's hear our conscience, raise our spirits, uphold righteousness and morality, defend freedom and rights of each other, even when our faith may have different perspective on certain topics. Let us form a strong, united force of spiritual heroes while embracing diversity of cultures, beliefs, and thoughts. In closing, on behalf of the Sikhs around the globe, the Midwest and Greater Chicago, I wish to invite you all to share with us a free, freshly prepared vegetarian meal in the community kitchen called Guru Ka Langar, Monday through Friday during this event between 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Special seating arrangements have been made to accommodate the elderly and the physically challenged, while others will be seated on the carpeted floor. Please be prepared to take off your shoes, cover your head, and abstain from carrying tobacco or any other intoxicants. I'm looking forward to meeting many of you, learning from you, and exchanging our thoughts. Please join me in seeking the prayer that every Sikh seeks when they conclude their prayers. Nanak naam chardi kala, tere paane sarbat da pala. O Nanak, with his name, grace, naam, comes chardi kala, a positive energy of always being in high spirits, and with your blessings and in your will be the peace and well-being for all. You guys have a great day ahead. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Please welcome renowned performer and cultural ambassador of Gurindjeri arts, crafts, martial arts, and traditional culture, Elder Major Moog E. Sumner.
Good morning, everyone. Before we start, I'd like to invite my ancestors here to be with me, but also invite your ancestors to be here with us. but also thank the traditional owners of this land for allowing me to speak in their country. My name is Major Sumner, Mugi Sumner. I'm a Ngarinyarigana person from South Australia. One of the oldest living cultures in the world. I come from that area. And yet, in our land, what the T-shirt says here, yes, there's a vote going on soon, is that we've got the right to speak on our behalf in our own country. Human rights, the rights of people to have a say. Talk about the land, talk about the animals, the plants that lived with us for thousands and thousands of years. Would like to speak on their behalf. Without the animals or the plants, we can't live. This world won't function. We need to live in harmony with the land, but also with each other. People never learn from the past. All the different disagreements with each other, they're still going on. And yet people never learn. We need to sit down and talk, all of us, so that we start looking after each other, talking to each other, being a part of each other's lives, looking after the land, looking after this country, the countries that we come from, looking after them so that it looks after us. With the Ngarinyari people, we live along the rivers. We do ceremonies down the rivers, looking after the fish, looking after the people, looking after the water. Because all of us, we need water to live. Our bodies, a lot of percentage of that is water. So we need that. So without having water there to drink, we won't survive. And yet we use a lot of stuff that will put the water off. So there's all sorts of things, even looking after the moon. You got people now, they want to be mining on the moon. That's going to have a big effect on the waters of this world. So looking after things like that, we need to really sit down and think about what. And some of the people that are doing this are supposed to be really smart people. But you start interfering with places like the moon, you're going to interfere with the waters of this world, interferes with the waters that's in our bodies. So as a Ngarinyarigana person, we talk about a lot of this stuff all the time amongst ourselves. It'd be good to come here again with a group of other people. So on behalf of my people, I thank you for inviting us here to have our say about the world, how we live, where we live, but also looking after each other. Thank you very much.
Please welcome Cantor Emerita of Oheb Shalom Congregation in South Orange, New Jersey, Ricky Lippitz.
Shalom Aleichem, peace be upon you. In Jewish tradition, there is no voice as important as the voice of the community. And so you will see slides, and I invite you to sing everything that's there in English or in Hebrew. You're most welcome to join me. That's the point of this moment. Hinei ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad kashem tov kital chermon et habracha ad haolam. Can we have those in English? The next slide, thank you. Behold how good, how sweet and true to gather here as one with you, like precious oil, like dew that falls. May blessings pour upon us all. Keep those slides moving, thank you. Olam chesed yibaneh. Olam chesed yibaneh. Olam chesed yibaneh. Now in English, join me. I will build this world from love. And you must fill this world with love. And if we build this world from love, then God will build this world with love. Let me hear you. Next slide would be good. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Odevo shalom aleinu. Odevo shalom aleinu. Odevo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam.
Dear brothers and sisters, God's blessings and peace be upon you. Please accept Sikh greetings. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. It is an absolute honor for us Sikhs to be allowed to extend an invitation to you all to partake langar in the specifically set up marquees by the lake. It will be served for all days of the event. I implore each and every one of you to accept and help us keep our first Guru's over 500 years tradition alive. Lovingly serving God's humanity is serving God. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Food is being now served in the marquees. Thank you.
Please welcome Chicago's favorite hip-hop kids performance group, the Happiness Club.
I control it. Suppressing everything I'm feeling. Confessions on a constant repeat. Do everything to be discreet. I'm just hanging from a thread. Can I break this pattern? Need a new tomorrow. I'm running away from Saturn. Where can I go? Feeling undeserving. Pushing to be conserving. I need to get out of my head. We can make it through if we just stick together. We can make it through. We can, yeah, yeah. We can make it through if we just stick together. We can make it through. We try so hard to make things what we want, but sometimes it's just out of our control. So whatever happens, happens. We can't control what happens at all. Cannot break this pattern. Need a new tomorrow. Running away from Saturn. Where can I go? Feeling undeserving. Pushing to be conserving. I need to get out of my We can make it through if we just stick together. We can make it through, we can, yeah, yeah. We can make it through if we just stick together. We can make it through. We can make it through if we just stick together. We can make it through, we can, yeah, yeah. We can make it through if we just stick together. We can make it through.
Right now, 101.
Hey.
Ooh, yeah, it's loud, loud.
Hey.
Come on, put your hands together.
Hey.
Let me see your hands, let me see your hands. Come on, one.
Man, dude, I'm so stressed out. Schoolwork got me ready to scream and shout. I'm trying to get my mind off of this, man. I'm trying to shake that stress off. Turn my music up, yeah, to the max. I'm about to start dancing. Birdie, get back, yeah. Can't nobody do it like me, yeah. Can't nobody jack my seats, yo. Man, I'm asking what I gotta do to get it off my chest. I'm losing my mind, no rest. I'm scared all the time, and all I really want is a day without a test. Yes, you stress, all that I'm asking, and not to worry about the classes I'm passing. Things like fast, but being the graduate, I'm gonna walk it off like MJ and NASA. You got a problem, man? Shake that stress off. It's getting out of hand. Shake that stress off. It's really on your nerves. Shake that stress off. Break the problem first. We gon' dance it off, 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 dance it off. Slipping away, living scriptures. And so I write dance y'all. Look at me, I'm on stage. Family, popping and locking. Ain't no stopping of those. The word. So we strong, we don't never let our haters get us down. We ain't. You rockin' with the happiness, come down. Get off of my back. I get off of my rag. And I'm awesome in fact. And I got it all in the back. I'm living stress-free. Don't let these haters come around and stress me. I walk around here feeling like the best me. My inhibitions off the missions. Never let them hurt you, but direct you feeling. Shake that stress off.
It's getting out of hand.
Shake that stress off.
It's really on your nerves.
Shake that stress off.
Everybody make the problem small.
Shake that stress off. Dance it 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 off. My best friend Fana. My best friend Fana. My best friend Fana. I said she finna. She finna. Get it, get it, get it. What? Get it, get it, get it. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it.
Whoa.
Please welcome the senior pastor of Bright Star Church of God in Christ, Pastor Chris Harris, Sr.
First of all, good afternoon, everybody. And I want to welcome you to Chicago. I want to welcome you to the Black metropolis. This community is Bronzeville, right in your backyard. I want to thank my good friend and so many others who invited me to be here today. And let me just tell you, I would ask every African-American Christian pastor to stand. But the truth is, there is so much more work for all of us to do to feel invited and included. Yes, efforts of invitation were made, but the reality is, relationship moves at the speed of trust, and trust moves at the speed of relationship. Not only do I welcome you here to Chicago, but I also speak on behalf of about 372 other people who would welcome you if they were still alive. Yes, this year more than 372 people have been murdered in Chicago. This year alone. Raymond Jackson, 33. Travell Adams, 34. Trayvon Moye, 21. Jawan Jarman, 18. Sean Marinez Butler, 28. Joe Cunningham, 67. Garrick Glenn Eccles Jr., 35. Jeremy Jacobs, 19. Shelby Redmond, 32. Enrique Salazar, 19. Demarion Jakes, 14. Miguel Hureta, 34. I can only imagine some are saying, Pastor, will you call all the names of all the slain? If I had the time, I would. But here is the question, and here's how I challenge all of us who are people of faith. I ask the question, what can faith do? And the answer is more. The faith community, collectively and individually, should absolutely do more. The question is, are we here to discuss freedom and human rights, or are we here to defend freedom and human rights? The reality is, I preach out of a book that says in James chapter 2, verse 25 through 26, in the Message Bible, it says, the same with Rahab, the Jericho harlot. Wasn't her action in hiding God's spies and helping them escape? That seamless unity of believing and doing, I repeat, believing and doing what counted with God. The very moment you separate body and spirit, the scripture says, you end up with a corpse. Here is how that scripture ends. Separate faith, can I say it again? Separate faith and works, and you get the same thing, a corpse. Here is what I believe we have a responsibility to do. Put faith and connect it with works. In the King James Version, it says, faith without works is dead alone. So I believe we have work to do. What can faith do? I'm glad you asked. At Bright Star, Church of God in Christ, right here, 5 minutes from here, St. James, Church of God in Christ, about 17 minutes from here, we are putting works with our faith. We're putting action behind what we believe. We're providing trauma counseling through faith leaders based on an Israeli model that I found in Israel. And now more than 50,000 people have been impacted by the works connected to our faith through a trauma helpline. 50,000 people, lives have been changed. They are still here because of what faith has decided to do. What can faith do? It can make sure through our Bright Star community outreach efforts that we give more than 4,500 jobs. I said it, 4,500 jobs to people who live on the south side of Chicago. That is what faith can do. What can faith do? It can step up, stand up, and speak up against underfunded schools on the south side of Chicago. That's what faith can do to make sure that we bring STEAM programs. Y'all not clapping like I really want you to clap, as if you was in the black church on the south side of Chicago. Science, technology, education, talk to me, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Education is what we can fight for. What can faith do? Here is what I believe. Everybody do me a favor. Shout, we can do more. Come on, I need you to say it like you mean it. Say, we can do more. And here is what I encourage all of us to do as I leave you today. Make sure we remember the 3 C's. Everybody do me a favor, shout, be concerned. You got to be concerned. When you are concerned, that's when you put your head in it. Everybody say, be connected. When you are connected, that's when you put your hand in it, because you cannot heal who you will not touch. And then last but not least, everybody say, be compassionate. When you are concerned, you put your head in it. When you are connected, you put your hand in it. But when you are compassionate, that's when you put your heart in it. And I say to the parliament of the world's religions, I know it took you a long time to come back to Chicago, but don't take another whole bunch of decades to come back again. And when you come back, here is what we're going to ask. Were you concerned? Were you connected? And were you compassionate enough to address the ills of the communities that you come and hold your connections in? God bless you, and we look to see you again.
Please welcome the presiding bishop of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, Reverend Elizabeth A. Eaton.
Thank you, and I promise not to take the entire 8 minutes. So I'll welcome the 24 of you who are still here. I'm glad. Bring you greetings from the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, and Chicago is the home of our main offices here. And I also acknowledge that we are on the lands of the Peoria, the Potawatomi, the Miami, the Kaskaskia, and the Kickapoo people who have been here from time immemorial. I was elected to this office 10 years ago today as the presiding bishop, and in the last decade I've been challenged to respond on the basis of conscience to religious conviction to crises such as the extrajudicial killings of Black and brown people in the United States, from Michael Brown in Ferguson to George Floyd in Minneapolis to Breonna Taylor in Louisville. The white supremacist terror perpetrated against minoritized religious communities, from the aftermath of the trauma of Oak Creek Kudwara in Wisconsin to Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston to Christ Church Mosque in New Zealand to Tree of Life in Pittsburgh. The public health crisis of other mass shootings, from Overland, Kansas to Orland Park to Orlando to the south side of Chicago. In the United States, we surpassed 400 mass shootings by the end of July. The embrace of white Christian nationalism in the U.S. and the attendant threats to democracy, from Charlottesville to the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. The rise of other forms of religious nationalism globally, including India, where holy sites and houses of worship of religious minorities are being destroyed, and women in the state of Myanmar are being subjected to gender-based violence, and in Israel-Palestine, where the Palestinian people are facing dire repression, violence, desecration of their holy sites, and the expansion of illegal settlements, and where the very presence of Christians is at risk. The pandemic of anti-Black, anti-Asian, and other forms of racism and white supremacy in the United States and globally, the scourge of gender-based violence, the rise in anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim hate. These are all causes for despair. And when people despair, or when there isn't hope, or when there's this much uncertainty, people look for certainty. And this opens the door to authoritarianism. In many ways, authoritarianism tries to play on unity. What they really mean is uniformity, which can be used as a weapon to make sure people are controlled and stay in line. We in the Lutheran World Federation talk about unity as being unity in reconciled diversity. And this, I believe, is what the Parliament of the World's Religions is trying to demonstrate and embody in our time here in Chicago this week. We're talking about being people of conscience. And the word conscience comes from the Latin conscientia, at least in English, which means knowledge that you have not just by yourself, but the knowing of something with another person. So conscience and people of conscience are never individuals acting autonomously, but we form this work of conscience with each other. There is, in fact, an understanding in Lutheran theology that our conscience and our lives are lived coram Deo, in the presence or in the sight of God. And there is a wonderful Irish proverb that says, "In the shelter of each other, the people shall live." So with this presence and with this consciousness, we are able to be a people of hope, even in the face of despair, especially now in the face of despair. The very purpose of this Parliament is that we are the people who, despite all evidence to the contrary, believe in another way, a way of hope and not despair. At the heart of Lutheran commitment to ecumenical and interreligious relations is the antidote to despair. As Lutherans, we believe that when we engage with each other in acts of love, service, and solidarity, we can change the world for the flourishing of all people and all creation. The God who justifies expects all people to do justice. Let us join together, holding fast to our most deeply held convictions and creating space for those of others so that we can faithfully respond to the most pressing needs of our time with a counter movement of cooperation and love and a sacred regard for all creation. For 130 years, this movement, convened by the Parliament of the World's Religions, has been a call to conscience. Today, that call remains as urgent as ever. Will we heed the call? May it be so.
Please welcome the founder of Ahimsa Vishwa Bharti, His Holiness Acharya Lo Kechmuni.
नमो अरहंताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो वज्जायाणं नमो लोये सब्ब साहुणं ऐसो पंचनमोक्कारो सव पावप्पणासनो मंगलाणं च सब्बे सिंह परमं हवै मंगलम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिने सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मां कष्टिं दुख भाग भवेत्। बंधुओं और बहनों, मैं उस भारत देश से आया हूं, अनेकता में एकता उसकी मौलिक विशेषता है। बहुलतावादी संस्कृति उस देश की खूबी है। सर्वधर्म सद्भाव उस देश का मूल मंत्र है। उसी देश से स्वामी विवेकानंद जी 1893 में और वीर चंद्र राघव गांधी ने पहली सर्वधर्म संसद को संबोधित किया था। मुझे पार्लियामेंट की ओर से मेल प्राप्त हुआ कि आप ओपनिंग सेशन के स्पीकर हैं, 8 मिनट का आपका टाइम है। मेरा टाइम होता है अब शुरू। रेस्पेक्टेड एंड ऑनरेबल गेस्ट्स, एस्टीम्ड डेलीगेट्स, फेलो स्पिरिचुअल लीडर्स, फ्रेंड्स फ्रॉम ऑल कॉर्नर्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, इट इज विद utmost humility and gratitude to that I stand before you today at the Parliament of World Religions, an unparalleled gathering of hearts and minds devoted to the pursuit of peace and understanding. Together, we represent the tapestry of faiths, cultures, and beliefs united by the common thread of community. I am represent one of the oldest religious of India as a founder of Ahimsa Vishwa Bharti and World Peace Center, which literally means non-violence for India and the world. We have established a path for peace, harmony, and bonding to take this peace-building voyage forward. I envisage India as a diverse country with all the major religions of the world, we believe in bounding and love and respecting all faith practices. World Peace Center will work for these ethos in the world grappling with conflicts, strife, and discord. Our pledges here is not mere happenstance, it is the testament to our unwavering commitment to seek a better path, a path that leads us away from the darkness of division and towards the luminous dawn of peace. Throughout history, religious and ideological differences have been at the root of countless conflicts. The flames of hatred and violence have engulfed community, tearing apart the very fabric of society. Yet, it is the midst of such turmoil the world has witnessed the power of compassion, understanding, and mutual respect to heal wounds and made broken relationships. The teaching of Jainism and indeed the essence of all major faith traditions emphasize the sacredness of life, the pursuit of non-violence, and the unity of all living beings. These timeless principles have served as beacons of hope, guiding humanity towards coexistence and cooperation. In the word of Lord Mahavir, to not injure, abuse, oppress, enslave, insult, torment, torture, or kill any creature of living being. This profound message transcends religious boundaries, extending the hand of reverence to every form of life on this planet. As a spiritual leader, we bear the profound responsibility to nurture this spirit of interfaith dialogue as collaboration. Let's remember that the continuous endeavor requiring patience, perseverance, and humility. Respect a dignitary's guest, a spiritual leader, and advocate of peace. As we convene here, that this sacred space, we are reminded of the imperative needs to address the pressing issues of our time, conflicts that have plagued our societies both within and between nations. The reverberations of violence, hatred, and discord are felt across the globe, causing immeasurable pain and suffering to countless beings. Yet, is representative of diverse faith, traditions, and spiritual philosophies. We possess the immense potential to become agent of transformation change. In the heart of every religion lies the essence of compassion, love, and understanding. It is through nurturing these shared values that we can sow the seeds of peace and cultivate a world where harmony prevails. At the core of Jain philosophy, we find the profound principle of ahimsa, non-violence, not merely as an absence from physical harm, but as a way of life. Ahimsa calls upon us to cultivate peace within ourselves, with others, and with all living beings. It beckons us to transcend the barriers of religion, race, and nationality, and embrace our interconnected as one human family. In the pursuit of peace, it is crucial that we acknowledge the underlying causes of conflict, social injustice, economic disparity, environmental degradation, and the erosion of cultural values. Together, let's endeavor to address these root issues of only through comprehensive transformation we can establish stable and lasting peace. The upcoming World Peace Center of India serves as a sanctuary of hope, a place where people all walks of life can come together to learn, share, and collaborate for the betterment of humanity. As we gather within these walls, let us not only engage the fruitful discussion, but also embark on concrete action to promote reconciliation, forgiveness, and the spirit of oneness. In our script, in our quest for peace, let us recognize the significance of education as a powerful tool to dismantle the walls of ignorance and intolerance. By imparting the values of compassion, empathy, and understanding to the younger generation, we can foster a future where conflict is replaced with dialogue and violence replaced with compassion. Moreover, we must harness the potential of technology and media to spread message of harmony and unity, counting the narrative of hate and division that pervade our digital spaces. Through collective efforts, we can build a virtual realm that upholds the virtual of peace and uplifts the human spirit. The path to peace may not always be smooth, and challenge may arise along the way, but as spiritual leaders and peace advocates, let us stand fast in our commitment to this noble cause. Together, let us inspire our community to become beacons of peace, radiating compassion and love to all corners of the world. We must rise above the narrow confines of sectarianism and embrace the beauty of diversity that defines our global family. Embracing diversity does not mean a relinquishing our unique identity. Rather, it calls us to recognize that our diverse perspective enrich the human experience. In the pursuit of peace, we must also confront the root causes of conflict, poverty, injustice, environmental degradation, and the absence of education and empathy. Let us work to alleviate the suffering of the vulnerable and marginalized, lifting them towards a life of dignity, of hope. We must be torchbearer of sustainable living, recognizing that our actions of today save the world of tomorrow. Let us safeguard our planet, for it is the secret gift entrusted to us by the divine. As we deliberate over the next few days, I implore each of you to listen with open heart, learn with open minds, and speak with compassion. Together we can craft a roadmap towards a harmonious future, a future where peace is not an elusive dream, but a palpable reality. Let this parliament of world religion be a crucible for lasting change, a catalyst of transforming our world into the century of peace and understanding. As we partake in the secret journey of coexistence, let us remember the word of Saint Francis of Assisi: make me an instrument of your peace. Remember the word of Saint Francis of Assisi: make me an instrument of your peace. May the divine light guide our path, and may our collective efforts sowing the seeds of peace that we bloom into a magnificent garden of the unity for generations to come. Thank you, and may peace be with all of this till end of time. अंत में मैं भारत देश की स्वतंत्रता की पूर्व संध्या पर पूरे भारत देश की ओर से आप सबको हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। और आइए बंधुओं, भारत और हम सब मिलकर के दुनिया को खूबसूरत बनाने के लिए एक साथ चलें, हाथों में हाथ लें और दुनिया को खूबसूरत बनाएं। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ ओम अरहम।
Thank you for attending the opening plenary of the 2023 Parliament of the World's Religions. The Global Ethic General Assembly will convene in this room at 1 p.m.